Hi, Sensei. This is Rashid Palyalil from Dubai. I am a public relations expert and a leadership visibility
Mhm.
specialist. Today, I have a very, very interesting question for you. It is because I was reading your quote the other day, which is confidence has no competition.
Mm,
So, you always tell us that do not compete with anyone,
mm,
you collaborate with others.
mm.
So, my question here is that is it wrong to compete in a world that is actually driven by competition and a fighting spirit?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay. When you use the
that's my
word
question.
fighting, that is something I love to because I used to be a martial artist. I used to be in the ring and I used to fight. You got to be a
Yeah,
fighter for sure.
yeah,
You got to be a fighter for sure. However, there are some questions that you need to ask. Okay. The question is, why do you want to fight?
yeah,
Always start with the why part, the purpose of it. Why do you want to fight? If there is an X here, ask yourself, why should I have to fight with this person? Why should I have to compete with that person? You
yeah,
don't have to. Sometimes you don't have to. Sometimes if you compete that with that person, he has already achieved or she has already achieved something. And if you want
yeah,
to be like that person, if you want to have the same, what you call the status like that person has got, forget about it. Forget
yeah,
about it because you're seeing that person from the external layer. You're not seeing what is happening inside that person. That could be very successful people in the world. They could be celebrities, they could be authorities and so forth in a higher position, higher rank. Then it doesn't mean that they are satisfied. It doesn't mean that they are happy. So
yeah,
ask yourself, you should be in two areas. One is are you comfortable right now? Number one, are you
hmm,
ready to take a challenge to move forward? Are you
hmm,
ready to compete with yourself, learn something new, act on some new strategies and so forth, so that you
yeah,
can move forward because you have already done your analysis, your
yeah,
workout, and you have found
yeah,
out that it is good to move to that particular zone or that particular level, then you move. The
yeah,
biggest competition here happens not with somebody else but with you. If you compete with somebody else, this is something incorrect way. If you compete with somebody else for a position, it becomes a rat race. Nobody in the world would be 100% satisfied. So there
yeah,
is a time that you need to stop everything. For example, let me take my example, though I don't want to talk much about me. When I started my career at the age of 16, I became a coach. At the age of 16 in 1982, I became a coach, a martial arts coach. I,
uh-huh,
I became a martial arts coach and continued with that as champion, like on a national level and international level. And later on, I closed the chapter. I closed the chapter and I gave the position to my students. Later on, I became a champion in IATA or International Air Transport Association, because now I changed my
uh-huh,
career completely. I worked there in London as the head of department for London School of Management and so forth. And after some time, I closed that. I closed that and
yeah,
gave my position to somebody else. Then I
hmm,
became an airline instructor or a trainer and a manager for an airlines, which is Qatar Airways. And I was there for around about 14 years. And working after 14 years, I closed the chapter. Now, if you ask me, am I a martial artist? I am a martial artist, but that's a history. Am I an IATA instructor? Yes, I used to be, but not now. It's a history. Am I an aviation instructor? Yes, I used to be, but not now. Now I'm completely into leadership, where I train people about how to become personal leader or personal mastery and so forth. You're with
hmm,
me? So in
yeah, yeah,
order to move from one position itself within the same industry, I have to compete with myself. For example, from an yellow belt to orange belt to green belt to brown and to black, and black first dan, second dan, there is a competition. I have to compete with myself to reach the higher level. Same thing happened with my IATA. I had to compete with myself so that I became a world champion around about 20 years back with 41 different qualifications. I was competing with myself. Nobody's there in the world who has got this 41 qualification. Same thing happened with aviation industry. I became one of the best instructor in Qatar Airways. And now I'm into the leadership program. So I had to change. And in order to change, in order to adapt to something, you have to close the door. You should
yes,
never be a master in everything, because if you're mastering everything, you will never grow vertical. So if you want to grow vertical, you have to close certain doors so that you can move forward. So therefore, you have to compete with yourself. You have to learn. You have to ask yourself, what is that something that I have to learn myself so that I can grow? Is there something that I need to change? Then you got to change. There could be a habit change. There could be a behavioral change, which you have to change. There could be some behaviors that you need to stop, that you have to stop. Then you need to ask, where can I get this education from? Where can I get this knowledge? Can a person help me? Can a teacher help me? Can an academy help me? Then go for it, and then you move forward. Did I answer your question, Sheil?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, it was really insightful for me. And thank you so much for those wisdom.
So
And,
never be in the rat race. This is what I want to say. Never be in the rat race by racing with somebody else. Race with yourself.
Yeah. Self battle with self, or fight with self.
Exactly. Yeah. Be a samurai. Be a samurai and fight with yourself.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. That's from the martial arts background.
Exactly correct.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sensei.
Thank you. Bye.